Right now on Live with Cody and Matt, we're going to be taking a look back at this past week's episode where we talked with David about asexuality. Plus, we have a spooky Halloween cocktail we're going to share with all of you. Plus, we're going to be checking in with Matt to see how nursing school has gone this week. Plus, there's some news headlines. The CDC is expanding eligibility of the COVID-19 booster shots. A Texas school district is banning boys from wearing long hair, and now some of the students are suing the school district. Plus, we have a look at some entertainment news, Wonder Woman and Adele. Plus, Kellogg's is being sued for a lack of real strawberries in their strawberry Pop-Tarts. A woman is suing them for $5 million. We'll have all of that coming up right now on Live with Cody and Matt.
Podcasting from the Lone Star State in Southern California, you're listening to the Coma Podcast with Cody and Matt.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the show. We thank you for joining us. As always, you can watch this every Friday at 5 o'clock live. If not, the replays are available audio version and on YouTube. And everybody, I know you're excited to see that Matt is here. Matt
I am
has joined
here
us
and
back
I am
on the
alive.
show. Welcome back.
Yeah. Well, Cody. Oh God, is that that's welcome back? Do you know where that? You do know that's where it's from, right?
Do what?
You know where that intro is from, right? It's from Welcome Back, Cotter.
I do.
Okay, I was like, so.
And oldie.
So Cody,
Chris, hey, Keith, hey.
I appreciate you holding down the fort this week, and I've done something for you, Cody. Now, if you're watching this, Cody has no idea what I'm about to do, and this is really fun. Obviously, I'm very tired, and I have some updates to share with you guys as well. You also know that notice my head has been shaved again. But Cody, I'm actually looking for a text message because when I changed screens, I killed everything here.
Chris says, "Miss you, Matt," and also
yes, I got
with
to
the
talk to
facial
Chris
hair.
a little bit.
I know.
Huh?
He also said my facial hair. I forgot to shave beforehand. I ran out of time.
Yeah, I actually have it too, but with this lighting, you can't tell. Speaking of lighting, hold on.
Everybody, I redid my nails. I know everybody wants to see the nails, so we have spooky nails right now.
Well, Cody, often we talk about on this podcast, how men can be really shitty, right? We have a habit of not understanding, miscommunication, and yet here we are. So you might notice that I will always say men are trash, but you know what I am, Cody?
What?
I'm a trash panda.
Oh my God, everybody. Look at that. We have a little trash panda. Oh my gosh. And a tail. And a tail. Oh my goodness, y'all. That is the cutest thing, right? What? And a little pouch. That is so cute.
Keith walked in the house while I was changing into this when it arrived yesterday. And
yeah.
He was like, what the fuck? It's got little claws.
Oh my God, the little claws are cute.
So I was talking to him about about school the other day when he walked into the house and he's like, I cannot take you seriously. You're sitting here talking about this with like.
So what made you want to get this panda thing? Where did you see it?
Well, Amazon.
I have so many questions. Okay, Amazon.
But so we talked about doing a Halloween episode and dressing up a little bit. And usually, you kind of have to do a lot of our directing right now. And I don't get to participate too much. And I didn't even tell you till today. Our internet went down Wednesday sometime while I was at school. And it didn't come back until this morning around noon today when we finally replaced it with AT&T fiber. But I was like, I want to do this for Cody. Cody will think this is so fun. And if I show up looking like a raccoon, so I thought it'd be a fun way to open it up. And I was
God, it is so cute. I love onesies.
And also I get cold all the time. So, but I mean,
I mean, good. Hopefully it won't happen again. Hopefully there won't be a super freeze in Texas. But if there is, you're set and ready to go.
Well, we all know I get cold, so I am super prepared. I'm even wearing my gay and tired socks. So because I got roasted pretty good about being gay and tired by one of the 19-year-olds. He was like, Matt, you look like you have a pretty tight core, but when you sit down, it kind of looks like you have a beer belly. And I was like,
Keith said Matt was just a little too excited when it arrived. Jonathan says, wow. And then Keith, I have a feeling this is going to be a year-long outfit. I mean, it honestly could be if it was cold enough. I don't know. You keep your air cool enough to warrant that, but I say go for it.
It worked out really well because David and I had a zoo trip planned for yesterday. So, I mean, it was just fantastic. But I was looking through Halloween costumes, and let me tell you, because I was looking for some fun Anna or Elsa costumes, my Amazon suggestions right now are a whole ass mess. Like everything's it's a mess. But then I scrolled past this and I went, oh my gosh, this is perfect. Because I'm always like, men are garbage, but I am a trash panda.
Trash panda. You know what? If I ever have land, if we have space, I'm gonna have a pet kangaroo. Yes, to that. But pet raccoon. I would love to have a pet raccoon and a possum.
I did see a kangaroo yesterday.
I
saw cute. A kangaroo, an emu. It looked like a giant asshole. I got to see a leopard and some other really cool stuff. Some African wild dogs, which basically giant puppers. Yeah, it was a fun day. It was really nice to be totally not at school for a minute.
Yeah, I bet so.
So as you know, we actually had some things happen that I didn't talk about that I'm dying to tell you about. It's actually kind of serious. One of the things, I don't think I talked about it during the podcast, but it was pretty serious. We had an incident at the school where a guy got into the building and exposed himself to a student. Mm-hmm. And basically pulled his dick out and said, can you inspect this? And then he went to another classroom and started basically playing footsies with a girl. And of course, people were immediately suspicious. And the group chats were blowing up like, hey, can someone come help me? I'm uncomfortable. And when one of the other students, I wasn't there. I walked out after a test. I'd walked to the edge of campus to eat. Yeah. So the other two students and myself were not present for this. And I'm not in that particular class's group chat. He walked into one of the labs where about a quarter of my classmates were. So it was and when he tried to be walked out, he tried to fight the guy and he started yelling for security.
God.
But yeah, he was checked into the building because you have to get a band to walk through the building because everybody gets temperature checked. So he had been temperature checked. And each band is color coded through the day, and it changes every week. So Monday is not always the same color, kind of thing. He had the correct band on, so he was literally scanned, and it was very obvious he wasn't the whole building is only nursing students or allied health students. So you'll have like paramedics, EMTs, dental assistants, so everybody is in scrubs or some form of it on lab days, or even if we're not, we're dressed like we're supposed to be there, So that was an exciting moment. And then
wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that was last week, but I had to miss last week because I had tests and everything the other day, which were an emotional, painful experience. And it took me a day or so to recover. We had a computer lab malfunction. So we arrived ready to take our test at 8, and half the computer lab was down with nobody had checked it beforehand. So we got delayed till 10. And then we get there and the wrong test is uploaded into our profile, so we can't take our test. So I don't know if you've ever prepared for a massive test. I don't know if you ever have. But when you arrive at 8 o'clock in the morning, that's as prepared as you are. We sat there so long that they had to push our second test, which was scheduled at 1, back far enough to give us time, which canceled which we still had a class at the end of the day that they ended up having to cancel because they just couldn't deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
In the middle of this, one of our teachers is being reassigned to a different level to assist. So her classes are being divided into the rest of ours. So we'll have our morning class, and because of the limited availability in the other two classes as far as like physical space, we've been booted to Zoom for our mid-afternoon and for our second and third class. So I will be staying on campus and just Zooming from my laptop or my phone. But yeah, this is all happening on that day. So typically the test average for this test is apparently 90. It's one of the easier tests. It was like 78. Yeah.
Wow.
It was a very, and none of the teachers can do anything. I mean, they can't, these things have to be done because we have so much more to do. But I did get checked off on being able to do physical assessments. I have finished my on-site clinicals for the semester, so I won't have to go back to the hospital. I am going back this Sunday to present a project, but that's a class thing that we're doing on the site. We're not working this weekend.
Yeah.
But I learned how to do catheters the other day, to put them in and take them out. And I will be tested on that this coming week. And then after that, nasogastric tubes, which is when you get a tube put up your nose and down into your stomach. Yeah. So it's been just...
Keith, are you going to volunteer as a helper there?
He has already declined consciously to do it.
Chris says...
Go ahead.
Chris just was saying that we were talking about your outfit. He couldn't afford the electric bill to wear all year long in Florida, but he does love it.
This is one of my favorite things. I was actually very comfortable the other night, and I was very, very happy with my fashion choices. But Keith, I was going to jump out into the backyard and scare Keith, but he happened to walk in as I was buttoning it up to run out and scare him, and he's like, "What the hell has happened?"
You foiled the plans.
Yeah,
Jonathan says, Cody having a pet kangaroo, absolutely the least surprising thing I've ever heard him desire. I mean,
it really is surprising.
So this week, everyone, if you've watched or listened to our podcast, actually, knows that I love the show 911. And so
the
this
shows
past
you
week,
love, the things you have anxiety about are just...
This past week, there was a ransomware thing, basically like what's happening with Sinclair Broadcasting right now, and all those local news channels are a mess. But it was a ransomware in LA, so like electricity was out, zoo gates were opening up. Anyway, all the animals escaped the zoo, and
my God.
Paramedics, firefighters were coming to rescue people because there was a guy stuck in Hollywood and said an animal was attacking him. They get there, and it's two people doing the rescue, and one of them, they realize it's a llama, and she was like, "Oh my God, be careful! This is very dangerous. It probably has berserk llama syndrome." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is so ridiculous! What is this show doing now?" And he was like, "How do you know this?" And she's like, "I researched it. We were going to get llamas. It's real. Berserk llama syndrome is real, and it can cause them to like ram your chest, bite you, like bite ears off, and they'll sneak up behind you and attack you. So this occurs mostly with male llamas, and actually, if this occurs, you have to euthanize them because they become very dangerous. And it occurs because you raise them, if you bottle feed them and raise them up, they think that you are a llama. And so there's like a dominance thing that starts happening. And that's why it usually occurs only with males, because they're wanting to assert their dominance against you because they think you're a llama. It does happen with females, but less dangerous. Mainly they just spit at you. But I thought it was fake. And then I was like, oh my gosh. So if we get a llama, I cannot get a male llama because clearly I'm going to want to take care of it.
Generally, males
get it pregnant with the baby.
I'm not saying this because I'm dressed like a raccoon, but males in most species tend to be jerks. I mean,
except the penguins.
I put this costume on, Cody.
The male penguins take care of the babies. So there's one.
Quinn,
this is a weird time to end the stream. Right. So Quinn, first of all, as you can see, we have a raccoon here.
The only person I told about this, I think I told Quinn I was doing
frame,
this.
But
Quinn, if you got to see the whole thing though. It's got I got little claws.
And then I was talking about how I wanted a kangaroo and then llamas and the whole list.
I was dying to tell Quinn about this because we've talked several times in the last few days, and I'm just like, I was dying to tell her about it. I was just like, oh my gosh, she's gonna think this is ridiculous and funny. I just know it. Like,
I think the only like full out onesie I have that has like a head on it would be I have a Stitch
I had a
onesie.
dinosaur one for a while. It looked like Reptar. I actually went to a Halloween costume with David. David was Sub-Zero for Mortal Kombat. This was like 2014, 2015. Yeah. I
They're
asked
so
David if he wanted a
comfortable. They are
onesie,
so
and
comfortable.
he was like, no.
Oh my gosh, David. Seriously, David. Ah.
Speaking of David,
Um,
I got to watch the whole podcast and YouTube video of you and David interviewing.
yeah.
And it was really nice not to be involved because I think it was actually I encouraged that. Um
Yeah.
I just was
Here
like, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you hadn't seen it, this past Wednesday I did talk to David and we talked about asexuality, and this is just like a short clip, and then we'll come back and chat about what Matt thought about it because he finally did get to watch it. He hadn't
Yes.
got to watch it before it was
Yeah, Cody
posted,
wouldn't show
so
it
it
to
was
me.
all a surprise. So here's that. We're going to be talking about asexuality. What is it? An asexual person can feel little or no sexual attraction, but they also can engage in sexual attraction. Is it something that you knew early on, or was it something that you learned more as you matured and learned more about things in the community?
I'd say it's kind of like a life point for me, at least. I can't speak to everyone else's experience, obviously, but
Yeah.
because when I was younger, like my late teens, early 20s, I was very sexually active at the time, and then it was like a switch flipped, and I have like no sexual desire, so to speak. I think, at least personally, my struggle with it is, it is a normal life sexuality, whatever you want to call it, especially for people and for me as well. It's just kind of accepting that that is my normal. But that's not everyone else's normal. So like you were saying with the hypersexuality in the gay community, I definitely had a lot of people not really understand that I'm not sexually attracted to you. It's not you. I'm not capable of being sexually attracted to anyone at this point.
Like going back, just even 5-10 years ago, it wasn't really talked about. So if you were a young person growing up, you wouldn't realize what you're feeling matched something that actually was real.
I would say for me, honestly, I kind of felt like something was wrong with me for the longest time. I'm just like, I didn't know at the time that asexuality was even a thing. I mean, eventually did come across asexuality, and I was like, looking through this here, this is making more and more sense.
You and Matt have been together for many, many years, and now y'all are married. What is that like, being asexual and being in a relationship? Because again, they can coexist. It's not like you have to choose one.
I'd say all in all, our relationship is pretty successful, but we have very open communication. Ace is definitely a spectrum. And I mean, like you said, gay, straight, that's always a spectrum as well. So it's really very individualized, and I try to tell it to people, it's like, just because like what ace means to me does not mean that that's what it's going to mean for you as well.
So that was this past Wednesday. So if you hadn't checked that out, you can check it out, the full version on YouTube and the full audio version wherever you get your podcast. But Matt, what did you think when you saw it and heard it and everything?
So I got to listen to it first, and then I had a chance to actually sit and like watch. I got to watch the thing in its entirety today. It was. I mean, I guess I wasn't terribly surprised because I do talk to David, so a lot of these things I'm already aware of with him.
Mm-hmm.
But I think getting to see him speak out loud and to talk to other people about it, and come here and do something like this in this kind of space and put it out there for the world, I think it was a really good thing. And it's nice to see the world kind of see who I see every single day. I think a lot of people, there's like this mystery around David because like I think it's very much a what the hell is on the other side of this? Like
Yeah.
I mean that's kind of this consensus of people who have asked me questions. But also I think helpful because there's a lot of people watching. I think allowing him to he's never really expressed any care about what other people think about it. One of the first things he said to me when we started dating, I think it was like that night, like 2 hours later. I wasn't even back in town yet because I was in Dallas at the time for work. And he
Yeah.
goes, you know, even if this is official, we're not gonna have sex every night. And I was like, yeah, I know what I signed up for. We're good. But that highlights a very real concern. One thing that is constantly said to me and has been constantly said to me is, so if you and David don't have sex, how can you even deal with that? And I'm like, when it's not something that's used as a weapon, it's weirdly just not a big deal. It's not like he's doing something or using it as a punishment against me or a way to manipulate me. It's just not something that he thinks about, and that's his normal. And
Yeah.
I respect that. I've always respected David. I mean, we've been close. We were friends from the day we met, and we just grew closer from there. And I mean, I always respected him and his views and his feelings on just about anything. So as this kind of materialized and took shape for him, I don't recall him ever sitting down and telling me that he was asexual, actually. Now that we're talking about it, I think it was just one of those things that kind of evolved for him into what he could be and feel comfortable that matched with how he felt and saw himself. And honestly, if he feels good and is happy, that's all I want for him. And he respects that I'm not asexual. So, so that seeing it kind of out there, I guess, seeing a conversation that he and I have had privately, it's kind of seeing a side of us that obviously doesn't really get shared. So that's probably one of the more private things about him. And then, of course, by extension, our relationship, that it's a more intimate look into our lives. And of course, I'm hoping a lot of people watch it so they stop saying things to me, because I swear to God, they think I'm just making it up or saying it so they'll leave me alone. Which, by the way, I can anyway, because no means no. But yeah, I mean, like, even if David was not asexual, does not mean one or both of us are required to sleep with you. And I think that cannot be underscored enough. But yes,
I thought it was.
Go ahead.
I thought it was interesting in having the conversation with him and talking about how that relates to y'all's relationship and that it can happen, but then also like the bigger picture of things in that being asexual and living in the gay world, where the assumption is everybody in the gay world has sex like 50 times a day,
which in reality, that is so not a
which
reality.
Is not, it's not a reality. And we looked at it, and we've looked at it so far in like many of the shows we've done.
Talk about and joke around with, but most of us, I think, have very normal, realistic numbers of, of a sex life, because there's always, it's a range. It's like a roller coaster range. Keith, as an outsider looking in, Matt and David have one of the most open and honest relationships I've ever seen. I aspire to have one like theirs. Oh, thank you. Keith, obviously, so he was our friend for several years, and currently he's our housemate while we're in nursing school. So he has kind of had the outside and the up close look at what David and I are like 24/7. And I could probably attest that I am the same off and on camera. Chris Pettis has known me since I was 19 years old. He has watched me grow and shift and change, but in front of people, whether we're in a big group or you're by yourself with me, I am likely to say the same thing, and just as much as David has always respected that about me, and our sexualities have always been something we've respected about each other, because that's not even a question. It just is. So, being able to let David share all of that is just great, because he didn't need to share it. This wasn't something he needed to get off his chest. This was, for you guys wondering, Cody and I were talking about how different things to do for episodes and things we wanted to highlight. And he was asking me questions. I was like, why don't we just ask David? I asked David if he would kind of fill in for me last week and just co-host with you. But it was literally 7:00 when our time, when the idea popped into my head. But I was like, oh, that would have been probably fine, actually, because he goes, I guess I could have. So, because he's really come out of his shell, I think, as he's become more comfortable with himself. But he's always just been so him. I don't know how to explain that. I mean, you spent a little bit of time with him, and Keith has spent a lot of time with David.
I think that was I think for a lot of people it's a big thing to talk about something like that, because so much of that we keep private, or we keep stuff in our life private, and so to be able to like openly talk about it, I think is a big thing. But it's also a good thing, because I think a lot of people don't know about the ins and outs about asexuality and some of the other things that we're going to be talking about in the future, you know, about different things within the LGBTQ community that are just like
and
put
as
off to
David
the side
highlighted,
and not talked
that is
about.
just his experience. You know, and throughout the years, as he's had various medical issues, and he mentioned that for a while he thought something was wrong with him, because it wasn't really something he wanted for a long time. You know, he wanted to be able to participate and kind of, not. I mean, we've talked openly about this. I ask him, I probably every few months, we're in the car having a private conversation, like, to make sure that he never feels like I've ever put any pressure on him. And if I have, what can I do? Let's back up and let me correct myself. He says I never have, which is great, but it's communication is absolutely, I know we said it 1,000 times, and I know how cliche that sounds, but I'm not asexual and he is. So communicating is super important.
I mean, I think if anybody takes anything away from anything we ever talked about, is communication is key to pretty much anything and everything.
And I realize I say that
communicate.
Like, being forward and communicating, as I'm literally sitting here in a giant raccoon onesie with a tail stuffed under my leg. But
Chris says, I really connected with that podcast because I feel like I'm similar to how David feels. It's been a long time since I've had sex and I'm okay with it. And also says that he loves that about you. Sometimes no filter, but some people need it, including me. And then Keith says that he will. Keith says he'll let everyone know when the book's coming out, since he lives with you and knows all of the secrets.
All the secrets. I don't think there's many secrets. Well, and one thing that's, I think it's important to note, like Chris said, he has not had sex in a long time, but there's different reasons different people don't have sex, and sex drives are very much use it or lose it. Some people want to have sex. Their body tells them, their brain is telling them that, yeah, but the rest of them is like, I don't need it. It doesn't exist for David. It's different. That's the difference. It is not a medically induced. It's not a choice. It is a, it just, he just doesn't have the desire. He can physically respond, but physically responding is not the same as an interest. And I think that's also very important. So that is something you should really keep in mind. Like, we talk a lot about boundaries, and that's one of the reasons I talk about them so much, because someone who may not be comfortable with the situation may still have a physical response, but mentally they are like panicking or something is going on. So it's so important to communicate and read body language. And obviously people I think they don't like sometimes that David is asexual, because when it comes up, we get some kind of ugly comments at times. Normally they seem to come to me, not him, but
everything comes to you, Matt.
I think it's because I have more I'm more out there, so I tend to talk to more people. So the conversation will come up, and it's one of the first things that I will kind of nip right in the bud, that no, David's asexual. That's it. Well, what if no? That is not negotiable. That is where it's at.
We are so if you haven't checked out the episode, be sure and go listen to it and watch it. And we are coming up in the next few weeks. We're gonna have David on again with Matt, kind of discussing the whole thing, the like after show of what this initial show was about.
Well, and I thought it also
so
fun because people love when David's on the show. And I think they really, there's this curiosity as to like what interacts with the other half of me, because Cody, it's very plain sometimes when you're like, we're toe to toe on something and you're like, damn it, why does he know something about that? Well, when you bring up some obscure thing and I'm like, yeah, I know about that. Let's talk about it. And you're like, I can see you wanting to throw your microphone, but you can't.
I'll just be like,
but,
Quinn, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
I was going to say, Quinn did comment earlier when we were talking about animals and little forest creatures and whatever it may be, said that she's had enough of the small forest animals this week. My cat has taken to bringing in possums.
Yes, her
Actually,
milkshake has started doing this, and I got to see some snaps of the actual possums.
oh my God, I need to see these possums. First of all, I do love possums. I want possums. We have baby possums visit the back door every night. And the other night I was going to sleep and I heard this banging on the window. It was a possum just like climbing up plants and trees, and Ella was loving it and everything. Today we actually,
yeah.
there was someone in the backyard behind us because our backyards butt up against each other, and they were changing power lines to the house. And so they had a huge ladder up, and they were making a lot of noise and really loud. It kind of woke me up, and I thought someone was in the backyard talking. And I get up, and then Justin said he couldn't find Salem for a bit, and we found Salem like hidden away in a place he's never been, and he has been scared all day. Like he would like crawl. He wouldn't eat snacks.
Aw.
And he has like
That's
had
bad.
major anxiety all day. I went and
Luna's
checked him
terrified of
before the
lizards.
show.
We don't
Yeah,
know
I don't.
why.
He has never done
We've
this
had her literally
before.
since she was 10 days old. Anytime we've ever had a repair person in the house, she fluffs up to like twice her size and literally panics. She has never been around anybody that's ever mistreated her, so we have no idea where it comes from. But
Yeah,
like if you're carrying like a box of stuff up the stairs, I've never had a cat hate a box before. If you set the box down, she's okay. But if you're just carrying stuff up the stairs, she hisses and cries. Which, speaking of,
oh my
I
gosh,
ran up the stairs in this to show David the other night, and Luna was asleep in a basket next to him, and she popped up and hissed at me and like fluffed up at me, and it was really funny.
she's like,
I had to, like,
no,
calm
get the
her
raccoon
down.
out of here. I don't
She
know if
fell
you
off
saw
a
this
tree
week.
last night.
Oh my gosh,
I don't
Should
know
not
which. I
understand
think
gravity.
she was napping. She just head first, straight to the ground. She stumbled over to a rug next to me and curled up, and I picked her up and put her next to me, which normally she would run, but she actually laid down. I'm like, oh.
She's
Yep.
like, nothing happened. What?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, you've been busy, but I don't know if you saw this week, there's been kind of a trending thing about bones, no bones. And people have been doing like videos mostly with, it's not what you're thinking.
I know. I have a feeling this is a flexibility thing.
No, it's actually animals. It involves animals, and basically, like if they have bones or no bones. It all started with this one guy, and this is the video that started the whole bones no bones thing. And this has gotten so big, it was on like the Today Show, and everyone's talking about it now. But this was on TikTok.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to yet another round of No Bones, the game where we find out if my 13-year-old pug woke up with bones. And as a result, we'll find out what kind of day we're going to have. Now, Noodle had a long day yesterday, so we will see how this goes. Noodle. Oh, sure enough. Okay, it's a no bones day. No bones day, but that's not a bad thing. Today we reclaim the No Bones Day as a day for kindness and self-care and just listening to what you need. Wear soft pants today. No hard pants on a No Bones Day. Do the sheet mask. Say no to plans. If Beth calls and says, come to Legoland with me and my 2 kids, feel free to just say, Beth, I love you. I love you, but it's a No Bones Day, and little Carl always kicks me when I'm around, and I think little Jeffrey was born without a moral compass. I just don't have the bones for them today. You can say that. It's fine.
I am taking my onesie because I'm dying.
So the whole thing is, you like, if your animal is like laying there sleeping, you kind of are just laying there, I guess. You kind of lift them up and see if they just fall back down or if they stand up. And that's a no bones or bones day. But I thought that was so cute. And so on his TikTok, you get a bones no bones day update every single day.
That's adorable.
Yeah, I thought it was so cute. But so everybody's doing it now, so you get to see tons of animal dogs and cats on TikTok on if they have bones or no bones, and it's so funny seeing some of them because animals are just so funny. Well, it is almost Halloween, everybody. I know I feel like this month has gone by so fast. First of all, like
I
literally
know it's almost Halloween
next weekend.
There's a whole theme to this.
I still haven't shown you. Next week I'll have to have the pictures so y'all can see my house out front. But I did do another cocktail this week. I forgot to run a cocktail last week, in all of my talking, I had it set up and I didn't play it for everybody. But this was one of my cocktails that's pretty delicious, I think. It's called Witch's Brew. Are you looking for a signature Halloween cocktail for your Halloween parties? Look no further than this Witch's Brew cocktail.
Well, this is
Okay, let's take our shaker glass of ice. We're going to do 1.5 ounce of triple sec, 1.5 ounces of Midori, and then 1 ounce of lemon juice. And we're just going to give that a good shake. Now, we'll go ahead and strain it into our glass. And then we'll garnish it off with a cherry. You can also, if you want, garnish it off with a little cube of dry ice. And there you have it, a Witch's Brew. Now, for more cocktails like this, you can go to my website, cocktailswithcody.com. Until next time, I'm Cody. See you soon. So Witch's Brew, everybody. It was pretty delicious. I made like five cocktails that are being released throughout the rest of this weekend and next week. And there was only one that wasn't good. I'll maybe have it at least. It's called Death in the Afternoon. And I believe it was Hemingway, maybe. I think it was Ernest Hemingway that made the cocktail.
Babe. I don't. You should have just
What?
made a cat theme one called the Seven Toes. You know, with 7 different alcohols in it. Because the Hemingway cats, not maybe the Hemingway that made it, because things did not fare so well for him. If you know, do you know how
it was?
Wait, what do you know about Hemingway?
I know very little. Remember, I don't read.
Girl,
I only know the
he
cat
wrote
connection.
The Sun Also Rises, which would have also made a great cocktail. The sun, like a sunrise cocktail. He also died by suicide. So, I was like, oh, so Death in the Afternoon. I was like, so
it has champagne, which okay, that's good. The thing that made it gross is it has absinthe. Normally, you just coat a glass with absinthe and that's all you do. No, this had 1.5 ounces. 1.5 ounces of absinthe.
Jesus,
the
babe.
grossest thing ever. Justin tasted it. He said it was one of the grossest cocktails he's ever had.
Did you find this recipe? Like, where did this one come from?
Yeah, so Death in the Afternoon is like just kind of a known cocktail, and so people do love it. And it was something that Ernest Hemingway did make, and he wrote about it, and he has his instructions, and the ways it does his instructions are, hilarious. But he does say to drink 4 or 5 of these a day. But I will tell you, the absinthe was nasty. So I just don't really like absinthe anyway. It's very licorice, I guess would be the flavor we're going to go. But then I was watching Titans and Batman and Wonder Woman girl. I guess she's not really Wonder Woman, Wonder Girl. I don't know. They both ordered absinthe, shots of absinthe.
Oh,
and then they had 2 each. I know it wasn't real, but like, I've never heard of this. And then all of a sudden, everyone's taking absinthe shots. Quinn says
something I wouldn't do.
That sounds like it would be good going down at the beginning of the night and coming back up at the end of the night. Solid cocktail recipe. All of the ones I made, except for that Death in the Afternoon, are very sweet, delicious, yummy. So good. Well,
so
I won't make that one for you.
Cody, and I do want to apologize. So Cody, in his diligence, created a fantastic outline of several things I was very excited to go over. And, I missed him last week. I've barely been able to talk to him. And so we kind of got distracted a little bit because there's a bunch of stuff we just haven't been able to talk about. So I apologize. And I also totally interrupted your life with a raccoon onesie. And I want you to know that I might not be done with costumes yet. I'm debating one more. I'm debating one more. But it's not a onesie. But I don't know if you'll get the reference, so I'm not sure if I want to do it. But it'll make a fun story for everybody else, I guess. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. I'm a little hesitant.
On the fence. Okay.
I am on the fence.
Well, while while you're thinking about that, there was some news happening in the world.
Nice segue. I love that, babe. While you're thinking what you're gonna do in a week. I would love to see if we worked on like a major network together, if we were like those bantering co-anchors, like how awful we would be. Like what our blooper reel would look like at the end of a year. It would be like that one where that woman was talking about that news anchor blooper where she was like the person who climbed Mount Everest, and she's like, but wait, he's gay. Oh god, not gay. He was blind. The blind guy that climbed Mount Everest. Do you know which blooper I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's coming back around again this week.
Yeah, it disappeared again.
Yeah, I love that one. She is now a main anchor in the morning, I believe, in Dallas. So she's things happen. Your brain sometimes just doesn't want to go.
That and laughing so hard.
I don't know the context. They probably had a story about gays before or coming up, or it was in the prompter for a tease, and then everything flipped. It's
what's happened here. We've had some bloopers that we couldn't air because they were really inappropriate. But you remember some words get jumbled, and there was a Madison Cawthorn blooper that took me.
I'm not gonna. It did throw Matt out. Yeah.
Wait, we had to stop recording.
It is saved. It is saved.
Oh yeah, unfortunately it is saved. But yeah,
it was great for him, but not great in the context of overall.
No, it was really bad, and we can't release it because.
But there there is good news though, because we had the Pfizer booster I was talking about, and last week when you weren't here, I was talking about that Moderna and Johnson & Johnson, they were going to be talking about a COVID booster happening, and it had to go to final approvals and all of that kinds of things. And so this week, the CDC announced that they are expanding eligibility to Johnson & Johnson and Moderna vaccines. So that's exciting. They also endorsed mix and match. So if you had Johnson & Johnson, you would want to probably get Moderna or Pfizer is the thinking, because the Johnson & Johnson isn't as powerful. But if you had Moderna, you could get a Pfizer. If you had a Pfizer, you could get a Moderna. So all that would be happening. So I'm going to be getting my booster next week. And I told Matt beforehand, I got my flu shot today, just a little bit ago, a few hours ago.
I felt kind of crappy for a couple of days. David was sick for about 4. I've never seen David sick before. He was sick for a solid 4 days from his, which is crazy because he's never. Normally he gets his, and I'm like, oh, I'm a little tired, and he's like, why? So this time, like at first I was like, well, that sucks, because it happens. By day 4, I was like, all right, now, like it was the headache. I think he had a headache, and he was really fatigued for about 3 or 4 days. And I felt crappy for probably 2 or 3 days. But so I hope you don't have any side effects. And I will also be joining you because I will also be getting a booster soon because at this point, no, I am truly done. Supposed to be done with clinical sites for the week. But hopefully I will likely be. Yeah. Well, I have to go back in January, but one step at a time. So
Matt was excited because I told him I get my flu shot, and so I have all these things that I have to get done. So I had to get the flu shot, and then I'm going to wait like a week or two, or probably just a week, and then get my booster shot next week. And of course, all of this takes about 2 weeks for each of those to like become fully effective. Obviously, on the booster, I am already protected because vaccines do work. But the booster is going to just help build up those antibodies again right now, while Delta is still a little bit of crazy. And because I want to come to Texas to visit my family and see Matt, and I don't want to go into the state of Texas, which is a hot zone, without having a booster and my antibodies at full levels, because I do not want a breakthrough case. And the likelihood of getting it in Texas versus here is extremely high. Now, granted, it's getting better in Texas, but still Texas versus California.
Yeah, well, I don't know what it's looking like here in San Antonio. Still kind of ugly in the hospitals, but it was exciting because we're gonna have a hard time we'll try to record some kind of episode when you're here, because that's super exciting. Obviously Cody and I have not gotten to meet in person, so this would be like the best thing ever. And so I kind of
Yeah, he's gonna beat me. He's gonna meet me in person and be like, "Oh, we got to cancel this whole thing."
I feel like it's likely to be the other way. um, just based on my history with guys, it's likely to be the other way. I mean, I have an ex-husband for a reason, you know, like.
Yeah, so I'm excited to get things going. But yeah, my arm is a little sore here. But yeah, Texas is the hotbed of everything bad right now because
Well, that's kind of
this one, Matt.
Texas.
I know Texas is trying to outdo Florida every now. It's like, girl, let Florida be
Normally,
Florida.
Texas is kind of like its own shitbox, but here we are.
So this one, the Texas school district is now in a lawsuit because there's some boys that are suing the school. This came after this school forced a 9-year-old boy to serve an in-school suspension for a month, deprived him of recess and normal lunch breaks, and banished him from campus to an alternative school, all to pressure the fourth grader into getting his hair cut. That's what the lawsuit's for. The boy, identified as AC in a court document, is one of 7 students that are now suing the Texas school district for what they call discriminatory policy that requires boys to wear short hair. Now, the students are alleging
Who cares
that it
as long
violates...
as they wash their hair and it's clean and doesn't smell bad? Who cares?
When I saw this, I was like, "What?" They're saying it. The students are suing because it violates their constitutional rights. The administrators apply it unevenly, they say, allowing some boys to wear their hair long and some not. I don't know the details about that, so I have an idea that it could be, maybe like football players get to have their long hair, but other people don't. Or more than likely, a lot of these rules were put into place to prevent Black people from wearing their hair the way they wear it, because, why would you want to let that happen in Texas? And so a lot of these laws, or not laws, but like regulations, are remnants of that particular issue. Not only that, but then like the hippie period, you don't want those hippies in your school. But yeah, I was like, what does it matter? What does it matter? It's hair. Is it not bothering anybody?
It's literally just hair. I'm so glad millennials and Gen X and Z are slowly starting to like wash this shit out. Like,
I feel like so many things lately are touching on these episodes that we did recently about like gender boxes and gender fluidity and what?
Which, by the way, I love the episode with Brie. I was so sad to miss a Brie episode because she is amazing and really funny. I got to listen to the episode. I was like, I missed, but it's always fun to see you and Brie interact because y'all just are like besties. So,
she loved it. She's gonna be back. I told her she has to come for a live one day, and join us for that. So that should be fun. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I want to moderate with y'all because it was just great.
I'll moderate what?
Moderate another game for y'all because one, I never get to play host. I never get to do that. So it was really fun to not be in the hot seat. And I totally roasted y'all while I was doing the first time when we were off camera.
I know there was a lot of recording.
Yeah, it was
there's a lot. When I was editing that, because I want to keep it a little bit short, the game, because people at a certain point were like, oh, but we literally went for like 40 minutes on a game.
It was so fun. We were just having fun, which is super important to me that when we have guests, I mean, guests aren't just a thing, they're a whole person. And I didn't know Brie, so I wanted to get to know her a little bit. And I know she's Cody's bestie, and they don't get to spend a lot of time together. So they got to catch up, and we all got to hang out.
Yeah.
I was sober. That would have been one of those times.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And moderated.
Next time. Yeah, we have the icebreakers, if y'all are wondering, at the beginning like that, because like if you do have a guest on and you play something fun and just kind of like throw their head out of what we're going to be talking about, it relaxes them a lot because then they're not thinking about what they wanted to talk about,
right.
Or they're not nervous because it becomes just like this fun thing.
I don't
and so
think
like
they get nervous. because we're so used to talking to each other. But whenever we've had a guest on, there's a lot of nerves. Um, Chris recently guested on Clint's podcast on the Auto Riff. So I actually
exciting.
got to listen to an episode from that where he had the head designer. He was part of he was a head designer for the Nissan Xterra when it was being released. So he did an interview with Clint, and I got to start listening to that yesterday as well. Yesterday or today, and so it's just kind of, when you have guests, you want to make sure that they feel good and they're comfortable because they're sharing something personal. And also, even though we're a small platform, once you record something, kind of put it out there, it's out there. And that is something that, you think about. And, I don't know. I'm just glad we don't have anybody on, obviously, that doesn't want to be here. So, which is nice. And then, but of course, we're always talking about things that are kind of hot subjects to, not between us girls. We're pretty like, oh yeah, cool. Tell us about you. But to people questioning, watching, hateful little shits, it can become ammo. And our social media's tags are here and present, so it does put us out there. So I don't know, people really think of that when they're like, oh, do I want to speak up on a topic? So
Yeah,
what I was
I
trying
mean,
to tell the
because
person is that they're speaking for themselves. They're not representing an entire, like, they're not speaking for the class. They're only speaking to their experience, like David and asexuality. He wasn't speaking for all asexual people. He was speaking for himself and his experience as an asexual person in this world.
Yeah. Chris says Texas versus Florida, game on. And Quinn, Texas is finally making me happy that I live in Oklahoma. And then and Texas lawmakers, again, they just passed legislation this week barring transgender students from playing on sports teams that align with their gender identity. Everyone's, I guess, hated governor, Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott, said the bill is a way to, quote, protect the integrity of Texas high school sports. So yeah, there's that.
I mean, what a bunch of bullshit. Do you think that anybody says these out loud before they put them on paper? Because this is why I'm not a fan of, people aren't fans of me in meetings, because when people have said these dumbass things out loud, I'm like, are you dumber than holy shit?
I think in general, a lot of times these people don't believe it initially, but then the time goes on so long that they actually start believing these things, even though they're so outlandish. I will say I do love Texas, and but it needs to get its act together. Of course, there used to be
there's a red flag meme around here somewhere, right? Like
there used to be a Democratic governor, and of course, all of your metro areas are very liberal. And so that's why gerrymandering is occurring in Texas at a crazy rate. If you've seen the most recent map, is because they're trying to gerrymander, because all the metro large population centers are very liberal, and it's just the rural areas that aren't. And
they're trying to.
That's how it works out.
Tip off the liberal areas into red areas, so basically nullifying those votes.
Yeah,
I'm like, God, such grossness.
This was a fun story, though, getting all that gross Governor Trans bill situation out of Texas. Linda Carter, who was Wonder Woman, the original from the television show. I love this story when I saw it. And she had a tweet this week saying that trans women are Wonder Women. End of story. I think, there you go. Trans women are Wonder Women. There's nothing to talk about aside from that. Now, the great thing about this is, earlier this month, Matt, she tweeted about a celebration.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
She said in a tweet, I kept hearing about Fat Bear Week and thought it was a celebration of body positivity within a gay subculture. It turns out it's actually about bears. Either way, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And then some people reacted. People reacted to that, and she responded, like a 70-year-old woman, how does she know about this or this subculture? And she said, It's required language when you're training to be Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's grand marshaled a lot of gay pride parades, I believe. You know, like you don't get. I mean,
Yeah. So I loved it. Wonder Woman, Linda Carter, go you. Quinn and now responding when we were talking about Texas a second ago. Someone on Twitter said the 1 star on the Texas flag is the state Yelp rating. Social
you know what's
policies,
really
yes.
gross here in San Antonio, and I'm gonna get slapped for this, but soda here in San Antonio is literally the most disgusting shit I've ever had in my entire life. And I've had soda in a lot of cities and a lot of states, and San Antonio specifically is like -2. It's always flat, disgusting, nasty. The lines are gross because the water here is gross. It's like extra gross. So I swear to God, the lines have never been cleaned. And I mean, I worked in food for a very long time. I know what it tastes like, you know, like I know what these tastes are. And
Okay, everybody, when I visit San Antonio, we're gonna have to do like a
so, do you
little.
know how I know how different it is? We were at a restaurant, one of the local restaurants, where they don't have Coke on tap. They actually just give it to you as a can. Some of the ones they have on tap, but like Coca-Cola, they have as a can. And I got a can of it, and it tasted really like uncharacteristically good. Enough for me to notice to check and see where I just Googled where it was bottled. I just looked it up, like the can information. It was bottled in another state and shipped. Like, but I don't think it's a Texas thing. It's a San Antonio. It's our local water supply. It's kind of like in Florida. People complain about the water and the ice because the water is a bit gross. But made with water fresh from the Riverwalk. I think the Riverwalk sucks.
Oh my God, I love the Riverwalk.
I hate it so much. It's beautiful to look at when it's quiet, but outside of that, I can smell it from literally a mile away. And I'm like, God,
I love everything about it.
God,
I love the
90%
crowdedness,
shopping.
the people, the
It's
loudness,
like shopping. That's all it is shopping. It's not anything.
and
It's just
food
shops.
and drinks. I love going to eat and drink and just it's like one of my happy places in San Antonio, actually.
But it's not anything that you can't do anywhere else. I like the
Yeah, but
Riverwalk a
it's
whole lot more when they're not paddling like tourists down the middle of it. I
love that
favorite
too.
thing. I won't
I
go
love
on
that
it.
too. I love that too.
God, we're.
I love it.
Cody's like,
a lot
I
of people
love this.
actually.
I'm like, no.
A lot of people actually have copied that version, the Riverwalk. They've come to San Antonio to copy it. Oklahoma City has done a version of it. I think theirs is a lot bigger
Aesthetically,
because a
I
lot
think
of
it's
it's
beautiful.
man-made.
I think aesthetically it's beautiful, but it's so freaking packed all the freaking time. You can't really see anything.
See, I guess I love that atmosphere. That's
but
like
it's
my.
nothing.
It's just like
It's just people spitting and smelling bad. Like,
I don't.
like
It's
I
just
can
something
smell
about
it
it.
from a mile away. What is it?
I can't explain it. I don't know. It's just something I love.
It's like a spit in the face of like any real culture. Like, 'cause you can't see anything. And it's a bunch of fucking tourists like paddling down the river. And I know they're not Texan because they're all fucking sunburned. Because they didn't wear
Chris says,
sunscreen.
and now we see the difference between Matt and Cody. LL. Y'all think we would argue about anything, but we're arguing about San Antonio Riverwalk out of every topic possible. Oh, here's a good one, Matt. Adele, she's back in the news. Not that she left the news, but she has come out and said that her last meal would be
I know.
from McDonald's.
I can even tell you what the meal is.
What is it?
Chicken nuggets, Big Mac, and a Coke.
And the fries. Don't forget the fries.
Oh, I thought that was a given.
Yeah, she said this would be it. This would be her last meal that she would want.
If that was her thing.
She does admit, though, Matt, that she has this at least once a week.
Oh, yeah.
She has McDonald's at least once a week.
Go ahead, Queen.
Also, this photo. I love this photo of her. This is also from British Vogue. I had not seen this one. I love that she eats McDonald's. Like, come over, visit me, hang out. Let's go to McDonald's. There for a while, I was having, like, when Justin was out of town, when he went to visit his parents this summer. He was gone like a week, I think. I had like McDonald's 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I know.
I kept sending. I was telling Matt.
We recorded a few times, and you're like, "Oh, just got back from McDonald's. Oh, going to McDonald's." I'm like, "What?" I feel a lot of judgment.
So this one, a little bit, it is a very sad story, but in our little entertainment segment here, I feel we had to mention it because you couldn't not mention it.
Oh,
Alec Baldwin
yeah.
discharged a prop gun that killed a crew member in New Mexico, and it actually wounded the director. The director is out of the hospital now. Alec Baldwin tweeted shortly after the incident occurred, "There are no words to convey my shock and sadness regarding the tragic accident that took the life of Helen Hutchins, a wife, mother, and deeply admired colleague of ours. I am fully cooperating with the police investigation to address how this tragedy occurred, and I am in touch with her husband, offering my support to him and his family. My heart is broken for her husband, their son, and all who loved Helena." And so this instance, normally, like when people are using guns on sets, on movie sets and TV sets, they use blank rounds when doing that. There's a lot of safety protocols put in place. So really, everyone involved, who is involved in the industry, doesn't know how this occurred at all. It shouldn't have occurred, but it's very reminiscent going back to, like, a lot of people may not even remember this, but there was a movie called The Crow,
With Brandon
and
Scott Lee.
Brandon Lee was killed on the set. He was shot and was killed on the set. And in that case, they were using, it was a prop gun. They were using blank rounds, but what occurred is a piece of that blank round got lodged in the gun in a previous scene. They reloaded it with a blank, and then that piece that had been lodged in there dislodged as shrapnel. And so, even though they're blanks, they can be dangerous, or in an instance like that, things can go wrong. No word on exactly what happened with this.
So Brandon Lee was Bruce Lee's son, for the record.
Yeah.
So they used his other son, Jason Scott Lee, I believe, finished the movie as using stand-in scenes to finish the movie. He still actually, Brandon Lee has an active Twitter it's run by his sister as a memorial page.
Mm-hmm.
And they do post updates. And actually I was looking at it this morning. But yes, it struck him. I think it was struck him in the temple. The shrapnel did and killed him. But I think one thing that needs clarified, Cody, and I think you could probably attest to this from how long you spent in TV and production, that prop doesn't mean fake necessarily.
No.
If Cody and I set up our desk and did a skit with, say, these prop cups and prop this, they may not necessarily be made of foam. It might be a real. This is metal. It might really be a metal cup. They really do use real guns. So whoever was in charge when it was being reset, it could have been a slip. It could have been an accident. What'll happen is eventually an investigation will come out. And I'm sure because of public interest, and Alec Baldwin is a major movie star, there won't be any ability to be private other than whatever the victims' families request is private. Outside of that, I can't see anything being allowed to stay private. And then, because of public interest, because there can't be anything saying that, he did this on purpose, or he did this, or he did that, and there be any sort of, I guess not transparency. That's a terrible, terrible situation.
Yeah. So on movie sets and TV sets, normally you use a prop gun, and when it's a prop gun, it's still usually a real gun. And again, it uses blanks usually, and the blanks are basically a bullet. There's a casing, gunpowder, etc., the whole thing, except the tip is not on it, and usually there's some kind of wax or some kind of something on the end that doesn't help. It basically prevents it from penetrating. Essentially, it's the basics. All of this is basic, so if you go more detail about it, you'll see the difference. But basically, that's the difference. So you can still be injured severely even from blanks. If you're in a small distance. And again, if there's some kind of malfunction, which occurred with the Brandon Lee incident, there probably seemed to most likely be a malfunction in this case as well, if you're making an assumption, because they would most likely not have real bullets on the set at all, so there couldn't be any mistake in loading something like that. Movie sets and TV sets tend to use these prop guns with the gunpowder to create the smoke and the noise, although a lot of the noise is adding later, but the smoke mainly is used. And so, a crazy thing involved. Movie sets and TV sets are very secure, and they take these kinds of things very serious. So it is interesting to see something like this happen.
Yeah.
Again, But if you
I
look
think
at how many movies,
everyone is very curious to see what happened because, like you mentioned, Brandon Lee's death was huge because he was Bruce Lee's son. And you think in 1993, Bruce Lee was, you know, everybody knew who Bruce Lee was. And his sons had their own careers that were also blossoming. So for one of his sons to be killed on the set of a movie when their father was a prolific movie star, as well as a respected martial artist, it brought a lot of attention to sets. And I mean, I was only 6 when this happened, and I remember it because I also saw The Crow. I saw it way too young, by the way. I should not have seen that movie when I was 6 or 7. But I've watched it several times. And I mean, there's a lot of gunfire in that movie, you know. And so,
yeah, if you think about how many TV shows and movies that you watch have gunfights, gunfire, all of that stuff, it is a relatively safe thing. And again, obviously malfunctions occur. I'm assuming a malfunction occurred in this case as well, because also when you're shooting on these movies and TV shows, you never have the gun pointed at somebody. Now, visually, it may look as though you do, but because of camera angles and how things are placed, you're not actually pointing it at anybody at any point in time.
so
And
is that
so,
possibly the director was struck because of like where they
yeah,
were?
I think like, well, I mean, I don't know a lot about guns in particular, but if there may have been
I meant from
something
the
lodged
angle and the
inside of it,
pointing, like
yeah. So I think like, yeah, if there had been any kind of like shrapnel stuck in the gun or something malfunction in that, and it split and it hit probably them, you know, even if it wasn't pointed at them. Um, and there was something else I was going to say. Usually when you're shooting with blanks, there's a minimum 20 feet away from the gun. Um, so when the report comes out about this, we'll see if that was the case. I'm assuming it would be because again, these are all safety protocols that are put into place to keep people safe. And it most likely was just a freak accident. And I do, you know, obviously Alec Baldwin has been in really close contact with the family and providing anything and everything that he's able to at this time. And I do feel bad for Alec Baldwin too, because he was just handed something, and you know, you're expecting it to be the prop person in the armor,
Right.
to have it
and no
set
matter
properly.
what, ultimately he fired the shots that one killed somebody and two injured somebody else, and not to mention, so one, he fired everybody standing on the set, and the amount of lives that have now been impacted in that split second of him doing exactly what he was supposed to do. So how, I think, well, obviously at some point we will understand, because I think I was reading earlier that it was a real bullet, but how did a real bullet get in there, you know?
Yeah, so IATSE, who is the union, if anybody's paying attention, IATSE was the union that's been in a fight for striking it potentially. They did say, I believe it was a real bullet, but they had no IATSE union person on the set. So I'm not really sure how they're saying it was.
Right. I was
when
going
they
to
had
ask
no
you
one.
about that because I did see that, but I'm like, well, where's the confirmation? Because, you know,
Yeah, so there
like,
was
is there a
only
police
New
report detailing
Mexico.
that yet?
Yeah, there was only New Mexico crew on the set, so there was no IATSE union member on the set. And so IATSE would be your more Hollywood pro. Now, New Mexico is a huge movie industry state, and so in saying that, there are super professionals involved in movie making in New Mexico. And so there's no confirmation by the sheriffs or anybody at this time exactly what it was. But again, it would be very crazy if it had been an actual real bullet. And then the question would be like, how did that even get on set? Was a box mislabeled? But sometimes it's hard to tell between the difference. I saw an article talking about the difference between blanks and real ones, and sometimes they're very difficult unless you're looking very closely if they're labeled. You know, basically this article was saying they need to be labeled a little bit better than they are. But
sounds like a lot better.
Yeah, we'll pay attention to that story. Hopefully more things will come out. And again, like Alec Baldwin, you know, it's going to be tough for him, because I was reading an article about the shooting on The Crow and the actor who shot Brandon Lee. And it was a tough go for a few years after that, just mentally taking that in. And then later on, he went and continued his career, and he was on 24. But it's a tough thing also, you know, so that's something.
Right. Like, how do you, I mean, you have to live with something terrible now. I mean, it doesn't matter if it was an accident. I've spoken with many people who are involved in fatalities or the serious injury of another person. And sometimes I spoke to them that week, and sometimes I spoke to them several years out. And getting over it is not, even if it's 100% the other person's fault, even when the other person stepped out into the highway and caused their own demise, you didn't see them. You have to be there to literally see all of it, and it doesn't just go away. So there's layers to this now, because also everybody that witnessed this is probably going to need counseling for a long time.
Well, and just real quick, I keep having these things come in my head. Frances Fisher, an actor who's been around for a long, long time, and people would recognize her. I don't have a picture of her, unfortunately, to show, but she is on this movie, and she actually posted a photo, I believe, on her Twitter or Instagram, a picture of her and the woman who was killed, and she just basically was saying that her thoughts are with her family, that she was just an amazing person. And she talked about how like she pulled her and they did a group shot of the whole crew and actors and everything a few weeks back. And she pulled her straight in front and center right next to her so that she could be seen, because there's very few women filmographers they're in Hollywood, and so she wanted her to be front and center with her, and so that's another big loss to the industry. Someone who is up and coming in this industry. Again, very few women involved in that things. And in other news, it's a little bit crazy, and I was like, "What is this? This is nonsense," because everybody likes to sue in America. But this is not like the McDonald's one. I want to say, because people always go to the McDonald's thing. Watch the documentary on it. I think it's on Netflix. But the McDonald's thing was a legit lawsuit, because that coffee was way too hot.
Yeah, her genitalia was literally mutilated from the burns that she received. And she didn't even want to sue at first. She let them, they strung her along and then offered her like $500. And then she was like, no.
That's one of those things
McDonald's was doing things that they shouldn't have been doing. And it was like 20, 30, 40 degrees too hot. It wasn't just hot coffee. This was 30, 40 degrees over scalding what it should have already been. Yeah. So, if you
that's one of those things. You hear something and it gets carried down and people talk about it and they're like, oh, that woman just wanted to get money. No, McDonald's thing is legit. This one is not legit. This is not a legit lawsuit. Pop-Tarts.
I love
They're being sued, Matt.
I love the real Pop-Tarts. I actually like strawberry and s'mores ones, by the way.
I do love. I like strawberry. Yeah, I just love them all. I was gonna say I love them without the icing. I don't like blueberry. I think my favorite is cinnamon sugar.
Those are pretty good. I can tolerate those. The s'mores.
I always used to have cinnamon sugar going to school. Like I'd always have that before school. That would be my breakfast.
That's cute.
But they're being sued, Matt, because this woman says that they're false advertising on the frosted strawberry. She said she's asking for $5 million in damages for false advertisement. She says that
she couldn't have sued to get the workers better wages.
She brought the lawsuit.
Striking.
Yeah, they are. She brought the lawsuit because she expected it would have more strawberries in it. She wanted more strawberry taste, which she nevertheless failed to receive. She would not have purchased this product if she knew the representation were false and misleading. Girl, it's a Pop-Tart. What were you wanting?
Pop-Tart.
It wasn't like first of all, it's a Pop-Tart. It's not healthy for you, okay? It's sugar. It's a sugar pocket. That's all it is. And this lady is like, oh, I didn't think there. First of all, there couldn't be real strawberries in it.
Can like you take the picture down? Because I can't see you right now, and I just want to see you be this angry over this. I just feel like I need to see this. Go carry on now. I'm ready.
there couldn't be real strawberries in it, girl.
Oh, good. I have
Okay.
crackers. Keep going.
Because then that would have to be refrigerated. So it's not, it would be perishable then. Now you can make, or in some cases purchase straw or Pop-Tart like things, not actual Pop-Tarts, but Pop-Tart like pastries with real strawberries, and they're good. This is not that. Also, who doesn't know that? It's not like this. I feel like this lady must be older, so it's not like it's a surprise. Like, oh, whoa, I didn't know that the strawberries didn't have or Pop Tarts didn't have strawberries in them. No, and here's the deal. I think they were actually they're dried strawberries that are rehydrated with like
Can you
a
imagine
ton of
sitting at your
sugar,
desk
a ton of
when you
sugar.
got like half your workforce on strike, and then you get the notification of a lawsuit, which by the way, it's a big dramatic notification. It says you have been sued, like right across the top. It's super dramatic. And then reading the why and be like, I mean, there is so much going on in the world right now, and you
know, it's like
sued to get like the workers better wages, some health benefits. Hey, maybe if they had better money and better benefits, they would be like, oh, let's put some more strawberry love into these.
I just don't like.
Cody, I really appreciate.
Again, I wish I knew the. I wish I knew the age of this person, because it's like how you go all your life and then all your life you thought this was real strawberries in it. Like, I don't. Was she wanting like pieces of strawberries in this? That would be gross. No one wants like.
See, this is what happens when you have faith-based homeschooling. Right here, this is what it does. I'm just making conjectures, by the way. I'm not saying this person was faith-based homeschooled, but I am being insulting about faith-based homeschooling, by the way. I am being a dick about that. That stands. But I'm not saying that she is. They're two separate things. I just merged them together to be an asshole for a minute.
Yeah, I'm going to say she probably wasn't, because I feel like she's older. I feel like she's older. I'm going to find the age on her soon. Next week we'll talk about this.
Probably just Google it right now. I mean, I believe you have a new phone, don't you? Did you get a new phone?
I did not get a new phone yet. No.
I can't believe that.
I've been looking.
Trying to get us to update because I upgraded our phones right after I left my job to kind of prepare, because our old phones were several years old. So we both got the iPhone SE, which was basically a 7. It literally just an slightly updated 7. David's is paid off. I paid his off like immediately, and mine I think is 90% paid off. And they're like, hey, now that your phone is paid off, you could get this and this and this. And like, his phone has been paid off since I paid for it 3 years ago. But whenever those came out, I'm like, no, we will not be succumbing to new phones, because yeah, I don't have a job. Did you find it?
Well, I have found that she is from Illinois. Her name is Anita Harris.
I think it's Illinois.
I always say Illinois.
Because they make it all that noise and rack it up there.
Noise. I don't know her age. Anyway, y'all. So this lady, come on, shut up. You're stupid. And $5 million because she didn't. Now it's going to be like not made with real strawberries on it. Girl, everybody knows it. Again, it's a Pop-Tart. It's a sugar pocket. Come on, dude. Like, people are so dumb sometimes.
Is anybody else enjoying this? I need like a Cody rant segment. Oh, Cody rants. Oh, how fun. I'm smart. See, I am the idea guy here.
Quinn, be right back. Gonna sue Starbucks for fun. I'm not feeling enough vanilla beans in my Frappuccino.
It's a vanilla bean. No.
Like, girl, you're dumb. $5 million again. No. It's a Pop-Tart. Shut up. Like, people like this annoy me so much. I didn't know I was going to go on a rant about this lady, but here we are.
I'm so glad it's not me. I'm so happy it's not me.
In a few weeks, we'll have the article news about Quinn suing Starbucks.
Oh, God.
You know, this is random.
Honestly, it would be one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. I would probably travel to Oklahoma for that court case just to sit there and I know you haven't met Quinn in person, but I have. And Quinn is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. In fact, I would really want her to. I might write my eulogy now so she can narrate it for me, so I can have a funeral for like my 40th birthday, just so I can hear her do my eulogy because it was
You know,
one of the
this is
funniest
so.
people I've ever met in my life.
I feel like with Starbucks there was an issue a while back, because there was a Frappuccino. I can't remember what it was. I feel like it was a strawberry Frappuccino, but it was something, and they had the flavor or the coloring was actually like something like ground up crickets or like millipedes or something, and people
Mhm.
like freaked out that they were being putting bugs in your uh Frappuccino and stuff. It was like for coloring or something of that sort. Um, I think someone tried to sue for that occasion as well. I'm like, oh my god.
Wait till
Well,
they find out what
everybody.
makeup. Wait till they find out what makeup is made of. You know.
Oh dear. So, Pop Tarts. Everybody has some strawberry Pop Tarts. Um, what are we liking? What are we liking? I actually was going to say something I'm liking, but I did not bring it in here because I was like rushing and I forgot about it. But they're hazelnut
Uh,
cookies from Trader Joe's. So if you have a Trader Joe's near you, be sure and get the hazelnut cookies. So good. The other day we got a package of them, and I forget how many there is in there, but we got them, and they were so good. And I started eating them, and then Justin got some, and he was like, "Oh my god, these are so good." He only had 3, and I had the rest of the box.
I just ate like a box of those, those frosted, those delicious soft sugar cookies that have like the thick frosting on them that, they come out every season. They're always around, but there'll be different
Mm-hmm.
seasonal ones. Luckily, there's a second box downstairs that I'm going to get in a moment.
Everybody, here's what they look like. So if you're looking for the box, the hazelnut cookies, they're so good. Like I could eat the whole box again. Apparently you can get them on Amazon. Who knew that? So if you have a Trader Joe's, go check out the chocolate hazelnut cookies. Matt, are you liking anything this week?
Had a bit of honestly, I've had a bit of a setback this week. So school was really stressful, and I did not score the way I wanted to, which is really scary because you only have a couple tests, and you can fail. Even doing well, you can still fail. And then I started shedding really bad last week, so I had to shave my head today. So because it's been just like falling out by the handful. So I was actually buzzing my hair. That's why I was like, I was literally shirtless during sound checks. My face and shoulders were still wet because I was kind of putting everything on to put the onesie on, and I went to like kind of move my hair over, and I could feel my whole skull, and I went, uh-oh. So I just shaved it off to a 3. So that was not exciting. I was kind of sad about that. But I'm honestly loving the onesie because it made me so happy, and it was so funny, and I was so excited to show it to you.
It was so cute. It was so cute.
I was hoping you would laugh.
That's what Keith said. He said it's going to be the trash panda outfit. Jonathan says, give me cherry Pop Tarts or nothing at all. And Quinn says, the Marie Morin cream brulee from Costco, viral on TikTok. You have to try it. They're pre-made in little glasses, and you toast the top in the broiler. I get so fat. Yeah, there's like I think I've had that.
I love creme brulee.
The little glasses are so cute. And we also got
creme brulee at the restaurant. I would eat just when I had the chance to eat those. So good.
Yeah, we also had tiramisu from Costco, and all of them come in these tiny little cute glasses, and then they can be used for other things. Like the ones that tiramisu, they could be like large shot glasses. So it's going to be great. And then Jonathan talks about everything from Trader Joe's makes me feel like I have too much at the end of my money, also known as poor. Well, we do want to remind everybody that we are on TikTok, and I haven't showed Matt this yet because, well, it just happened this week, but I did post the game that we played, me and David, and
Oh,
612 people have watched it, Matt. Although 566 people did watch us talk about Candyman, so there is that.
yeah, that
So
surprised me. You mean? Oh wait, no, Cody. They watched you talk about Candyman. I was just a prop for that. If you guys go watch the video, and that's not me shamelessly plugging it, Cody was like, we both are on TikTok. I'm like, our faces are on TikTok, Cody. Let's see.
So yeah, you can follow us on TikTok at the ComaCast. And yeah, 612 people wanted to watch me and David talk about Gay Clubber Steakhouse this past week.
Okay, the game was really funny though. I laughed really hard at that. That was funny.
It was a really good game.
It was.
Of
Good
course,
call, Matt.
you can always follow us on all of our social channels. Y'all know where they are. But basically, we're at the ComaCast everywhere except on Facebook, where we are Coma Podcast. So be sure and follow us there. You can follow me at Cody Rodriguez on Twitter and Instagram, and at John Cody Rodriguez on YouTube and Facebook.
Quinn, I need a compilation of every time Matt takes a sip with a good soup audio.
Oh my god, we'll get that.
Oh god, that damn
get that sound effect. But you know, we're glad that you're back, Matt.
Welcome back.
This sound popped into my head when sorry, this sound popped into my head when I was like, welcome back, what can I do? Okay, this will work.
You know, showing our age and everything. Yeah, so you can follow me, if you don't already, at the Poetic NS. It stands for nursing student. It's N as in Nancy, S as in student. So yeah, follow me there. You can follow me on Snapchat. I interact there, but I just post my cat. So if you want to follow me there, please DM me and I will give you my Snapchat. I just don't want to post it here because I've gotten a few weird follows on Snapchat and it was uncomfortable. So yeah, I'd rather just give it to you.
And you're gonna, if you do follow him on Twitter, you always get content like this, everybody. Cat and David content.
Like, it's the stages of your cat trying to relax, and as you can see, there we are.
I'm just keeping that photo now, like in our side storage here of anything I can randomly pull up. Oh, one thing, last week I didn't get to mention it with you, but I wanted to get your real quick thoughts. I know we're running really late this time.
Oh,
but,
well, we're here. Luckily it's our podcast.
Superman.
Yeah.
Superman and his it came out as bi, and his boyfriend.
I know.
I just love
so
this.
Cute.
So cute.
Adorable. And I'm all someone pointed out, wow, so much hatred, but nobody said anything about Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy. So let's just go ahead and admit this is not about homosexuality. Right, fanboys? Right? Are you hearing me? No. You are the same people who complain that Jill Valentine in the Resident Evil remake wore better, more appropriate and practical clothes to, gun down zombies, and you didn't get a good upskirt because her boobs weren't big enough. Just admit you're pervs, and this has nothing to do with the stories. Right? Awesome.
Yeah.
So yes,
Jonathan said that I should have,
and I'm super excited about the next generation of bisexual Superman.
Yes. And Tim Drake, Robin also is bi. So it's just
okay, well, we've always known that. I don't care what anybody says. People have been writing these characters for 100 years, and they keep trying to add things to them. What they don't realize, they're inadvertently writing LGBTQ characters because LGBTQ people have been living in the damn closet. So they're creating these characters, but the reason they act the way they do is because they're LGBTQ people trying to fit in and not be outed. But anyway, that's another podcast topic.
Jonathan said I could have given you the hipper version of Welcome Back. Well, maybe next week I'll bring it back again. Maybe it'll be his new theme song. Yes, and also Titans on HBO Max. Everyone's beautiful. I love them.
Historians will say they were good friends. Yeah.
Titans. Go Go watch it on HBO Max. I love it, and everyone is really beautiful. I love Beast Boy. Beast Boy is my favorite. Well, everybody, we'll let you go. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Sorry we went.
I'm gonna go get a. I know everybody's. We actually are gaining more viewers. I don't understand how that happens a lot of times. We're about to exit, and then everyone's like, "Okay, let's go ahead and watch now." But anyways,
well, they just want to hear us talk about David, asexuality, and theme songs.
The
David
Pop-Tart
theme
lady.
song, bisexual Superman, and I don't know your rant about your rant on the Pop Tarts was something. I mean, that was iconic. I think is what the kids say. Yeah.
Oh, that Pop-Tart. Maybe I need to make a rant. I'll post the rant on TikTok and see what happens.
I mean, I did have a millennial fail. I actually had to send Johnny Apollo a video about 2 minutes before, or about 20. It was about 20 minutes before we started recording tonight because I had a millennial crisis, an actual millennial crisis. So I was listening to the song "Rumors" by Lizzo and Cardi B, and my YouTube playlist thought I needed to also listen to "Rumors" by Lindsay Lohan from like 2004. Not a bad, not a problem. However, it was her live recording session from like AOL live sessions from way back in the day. It was rough. The live, unedited, unhelped version was rough, and it was hard to deal with. And I had a kind of a moment, so I had to go listen to some Kelly and Beyonce live performances to heal myself. And then it started like throwing out like early 2000s Christina. And it just, I mean, the hits just started going, and I mean, I was having a full-on millennial moment, and so I had to tell Johnny Apollo about it because obviously he is our resident, he's our resident about everything music for that generation. Well, and now and before because he like knows everything about it.
Keith, I'm not off to McDonald's. I'm gonna have a burrito, probably, hopefully, and I think tonight we're actually gonna watch Dune, so that'll be exciting.
Wow, you could try watching Beetlejuice.
It's on the list, and I do have a cocktail called Beetlejuice.
I know.
It's on the list.
It was on the list last
It's on the
year.
list.
It was on the list so much that I harassed your boyfriend, and I was like, "Hey, so I hear Cody hasn't seen Beetlejuice." But wait, do you know what I got from Cody this week? Oh, let's talk about what I got from Cody this week.
Oh, I didn't. I should pull it up.
And it's not what you think. Cody, why don't you tell the nice people what I'm looking at?
It's my Beetlejuice makeup.
And it's really good too. Like, he's so good at this, and I'm like, I need you to see the movie so that I can make these references, and it makes sense.
Maybe this weekend. It's going to happen before Halloween. I'll watch it before Halloween.
Well, it has to because on November 1st, your Hallmark Christmas collection starts, and
I think it actually already started, but
here we go. Mariah Carey
everybody,
is awakening.
I just called her. Everybody, we hope you have a great weekend. We'll be back Wednesday with an all new podcast episode, Halloweenish, and then Friday another Halloween. It's just Halloween all next week.
We'll ghost stories. Ooh. Oh, that's a fun idea.
Okay, everybody. We'll see you then. Bye, everybody.